Thank you very much indeed. And our rolling coverage continuing now with the presidential spokesperson, Vincent Magwenya. Soon after, we got word that there was a consensus adoption of the G20 Leaders Declaration. We didn't expect it to happen so soon at the beginning of the opening session here at the Leaders Summit at Nasrec at the Johannesburg Expo Center. So let's get some clarification. Let's get some substance to what President Cyril Ramaphosa intimated when our cameras had to cut away. Vincent Magwenya, a very, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Sherwin. Good morning.
A big week, a big year, a big weekend. What can you tell us about this declaration? Has it been adopted? Please confirm.
Indeed, Sherwin. The culmination of a years-long work by ministerial teams, by the Sherpas, has resulted to this demonstration of consensus, with the declaration being unanimously adopted by all countries present, which is important to emphasize. And this just shows the commitment that members of the G20 have towards multilateralism as a principle for collaboration and cooperation in resolving some of the challenges facing the globe, but also seizing the opportunities that are before us.
Vincent, we had a sense that we were close to a conclusion, an outcome document, but maybe only as far as 80%. We understood the leaders were going to grapple with the remaining 20%. We certainly were not expecting the declaration to be adopted at the outset. What happened over the last 24 hours?
Well, there was a slight change to the program, as you know very well, that the declaration gets adopted towards the end of the summit. But yesterday, in the various bilateral talks and meetings that President Ramaphosa held with the leaders present, there was a sense that we need to celebrate this consensus. We need to celebrate the spirit of cooperation, and why not have the declaration adopted right up front. In all of the bilaterals the president held yesterday, there was no objection or any expression of concern with any element of the declaration. If anything, a lot of those bilateral meetings were focused more on strengthening bilateral relationships that South Africa has with all of those countries. And so that was a slight change to the program, a good and a positive one. It was important for the president to kick off this summit on a positive note, which is something that we discussed last night, that we needed to set a positive tone for this summit to give hope to the world and particularly to the global south and our continent, if you look at the issues that are contained in that declaration.
The president, in his prefacing remarks before that moment, just before the cameras were kicked out, said things like, "We sought to undertake the task with care, dignity and diligence. We sought to preserve the stature of the G20. It moved from its original mandate." And he also talked about the necessity for the integrity of the process not to be undermined. Was he referring to anyone in particular, a country in particular? I'll let you speak now.
No, no. I think it was a necessary reminder of the sheer responsibility that him and his counterparts that are here have, not only to their respective citizens, but to the rest of the world. As you will know, there was a lot of anticipation and expectation with respect to this G20 being the first one held on African soil. How will it reflect the aspirations and the wishes and the desires of our continent, the global south? In particular, how will it take forward the issues that impede or undermine development in the global south? This G20 has done that, and that is clearly demonstrated in the declaration that has been adopted.
We should not allow anything to diminish the impact of the first Africa G20. The credibility and integrity of the G20 should not be undermined. G20 underscores the relevance of multilateralism, and he thanked the delegations for the outcome document. There's been this sort of ideological struggle, right? The United States has inserted itself and said the mandate has been broadened to too much. The development focus isn't what the core mandate is about, outside the stability of macroeconomics and market stability and global economic stability. Are we seeing a shift that will remain given the incoming presidency? How do you circumvent what we know to be true with the iceberg that is in the waters?
Well, we're seeing a shift that will remain. I think what has happened here in South Africa, without sounding like we're tapping our own backs, is a legacy that is going to remain with the G20 for many years to come. what are the issues that undermine macroeconomic stability? It's poverty.
It's poverty, food insecurity,
Food
climate
insecurity,
injustice,
climate injustice,
gender inequity.
right? Gender inequity. And these are the issues that we've brought forward to the center of the global development agenda. And so that criticism is a little bit misinformed. That's why the president quipped and said, no, it's not a G100, it's a G million, because there is a recognition that in resolving all of these challenges that we have, no country can do it alone, whether rich or poor. No country can forge ahead on its own without the cooperation and the collaboration of the rest of the world. And that's what the president sought to achieve from the first instance. He took over the presidency of the G20 with our theme, solidarity, equality, and sustainability, because these are issues we need to take care of now for a much better future for all of us in the world.
I know you don't want to slap yourself on the back, so allow me to slap yourself on the back by saying this. Yes, you have delivered an outcome document. The diplomacy has worked, the bureaucrats have worked, the functioning of the government has worked, you've delivered. What happened? The means of implementation is going to be very important in terms of what you have set out in this outcome document. I'm not going to ask you about the details of the document, but the means, the financing, the money, where the money at, is going to be very, very key. Is there a pathway in terms of this document?
So what we've done in the process of compiling this document and in the process leading up to this Leaders Summit, we've engaged all sectors of society, from business
You have.
to NGOs. All sectors of society can the media can find their own footprint in that declaration. So the implementation is not going to belong to government alone. The implementation is going to happen independent of government throughout all these sectors that participated and that contributed to this declaration, whether it's your academic institutions or the private sector, development agencies. Already we're getting feedback from some development agencies identifying areas that they want to immediately take forward. Obviously, with the next presidents of the G20, you will get a sense that these issues are going to die. No, we've future-proofed these issues in the manner in which we've brought them to the fore, in the manner in which we've brought whole of society behind this declaration. Lastly, as an important point, yesterday the president met with President Macron and Sir Keir Starmer. And one of the issues that they discussed was we need to ensure that there's a clear pathway between the G20 and the G7. And we need to ensure that there's a clear feeder of these issues and how these issues are taken forward. And this was a commitment coming from France. This was a commitment coming from the UK.
Why was Mark Carney not in the room? He was the G7 president.
Here now.
The Canadians?
No, Prime Minister Mike Carney is here.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's here. Yeah,
but why wasn't he even in this meeting?
No, we haven't had a bilateral with him.
Okay,
yeah, but no, these were bilateral meetings.
Okay, got you.
But we're quite comfortable that we will be fully aligned. We were in Canada this year for the G7 meeting, and we did canvass some of these issues. And so there's alignment with the majority of your G7 members to ensure that these issues do not die whatever form of death, and that they are sustained going forward. But we're particularly excited that the implementation is not the preserve of governments. The implementation will happen outside of governments.
I mean, it's been a tough year, tricky year. You've had to bounce around sort of obstacles as they've come flying at you. I wonder just how this moment feels.
No, it's
on a personal level, right?
At a personal level, particularly for the president, it's a great moment. There's been a great deal of anxiety, a great deal of hard work, but throughout what we've sought to do and maintain is our leadership responsibility, our dignity as a country, our commitment to our continent and the rest of the global south, and our commitment to a better Africa and a better world. And those responsibilities have kept us sharply focused on the task at hand, notwithstanding all the other side shows that we've had to deal with in the process.
We certainly love you running your mouth on SABC News. Thank you, Vincent Magwenya.
And I'll always do.
You're most welcome. Thanks so much. Vincent Magwenya, the presidential spokesperson. A little bit of an emotional high here at the G20 Leaders Summit. The consensus adoption of the outcome document. There is a summit declaration, and boy, oh boy, is there one delegation that is particularly happy. I bet that's the South Africans in the room. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.